Crickets.
I got a question.
Ooh.
What was the first song you had cut?
My first cut? I'll play it for you. Is it cool?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
It's actually on my list, so I'll just bump it up. No, it's funny, man. Like I said, I moved to town. My goal when I moved to Nashville was to be a songwriter. I fell in love with it. I grew up playing bluegrass music. Y'all know what bluegrass is out here? Yeah, all right. All three of you, thank you. No, I love bluegrass, man. I did that circuit for 10 years of my life, coming up through middle school and high school, and really loved it. But I just kind of got burnt out on being on the road, and just playing stuff that I wasn't writing. And so I grew up listening to 90s country and 80s rock, if you can imagine that. But no, I fell in love with the songwriting side of Nashville and country music, and I was like, man, this is what I want to do. I actually had, I'm from North Carolina. I don't know if I said that or not. Did I say that? Did y'all say that? Yeah, somebody should. Now you know. But no, man, I was, kind of working. My dad had a property management business back home. I was, really heavily considering taking that over and doing the thing. And I was really wanted to farm. I wanted to raise Black Angus and do that. And I remember sitting on my piece of, I bought a few acres back home, and before I moved to Nashville, and I was, I had no bills. I was single. I was making pretty good money. I was like, this is pretty nice, man. But I was remodeling this old house on this piece of land, and sitting up on a truss and fixing something. I just, out of nowhere, it just hit me. I was like, man, what am I doing? I'm not happy. And that was kind of the moment for me where I was like, if I'm gonna go and try to do this, I gotta go now. I don't really have any ties other than, my family, which they mean a lot to me, but they were very supportive as well, and they knew that music was kind of always my thing. And so that's kind of when I ended up taking a chance and moving to Nashville. But yeah, I get my first cut. I think it was 2 years into, it was definitely a year into being signed. So it would have had to have been, at least 2.5, 3 years before this happened. But I got a call. We were writing. Aldean was cutting his double album, his Macon, Georgia record, and got a call that I don't know. I'm sure y'all know kind of the process, but his process is very unique. I don't even understand it, but he'll go in and cut like 8 or 10 songs like in January, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but they're cutting more songs right now. But he'll cut in January, then they'll take a break and come back and cut, February, March, and they'll cut 10, 20 songs. And so I'm like, I've been writing, 2 or 3 years, trying to get a couple, right? I'm like just hopeful that I'll get one in there. And the second week that they were cutting, kind of the final week that they were cutting, I got a text, and they were like, hey man, we cut this one. And I was like, yes, let's go, And next day I get a text, hey man, we cut this one. I'm like, all right. Next day, hey man, we cut 2 more. I'm like, damn, just keep it coming, man. I love it, But the best text I got was Jason. He kind of always leaves a slot for like a collab or like a duet feature or whatever you want to call it on his records. And they hadn't really picked anything. They had a few options. And Tully, one of his bandmates that was one of the guys I started writing with early on, he texted me it was like 2 nights before they were done with the record, and he was like, guys, we gotta shoot for this. He's like, they got options in there, but he's like, I've heard them. He's like, we can beat it. So we got together, I think it was the next day. It was me, Lydia Vaughn, who's one of my great writing friends, and Kurt Allison and Tully Kennedy, and we got together, and Tully had the idea, If I Didn't Love You. He was like, I got this title on my phone, I don't know what it is, but let's chase it. And it was the first time that I'd been in a room and the song just kind of fell out. Like we wrote the song in like 3 hours, and if you know me, I'm a very slow writer. I like to chew on stuff and make sure it's right, but every line we were getting just kind of felt right. And so Lydia, one of the writers, she is a great vocalist too, and so we were like, why don't you just sing? You sing the second verse, I'll sing the first verse, and we'll just see what happens. You know, we were just kind of doing a scratch work tape in the room, and we got done with it, and we all just kind of looked at each other like, I think this is gonna get cut. I think this is gonna get cut. So the next day they turned it in, and Alden was like, I love it, I love it. He put it on hold immediately. So we had no idea who the feature was gonna be, right? Like we were just kind of in limbo. I'm like, cool, he likes it. That's all that matters, right? Well, like 2 weeks later, they finished cutting all the songs, and he texted me. Yeah, he's the one that texted me. He was like, hey man, just want to let you know that Carrie Underwood is gonna be coming on the song with us, and my jaw just hit the floor. You know, I'm like, this is wild. But yeah, that's kind of the short version of that. Right? Yeah. No, I always say too, this song has definitely a special place in my heart, man. This is kind of the one that changed my path, I guess, and really gave me a lot of confidence that I could be a songwriter in Nashville and hang with some of the guys who, you know, have been there forever writing hits. But this was my first cut as a songwriter, so here we go.